What really happened behind BTS's heartbreaking live that made Jungkook and Taehyung burst into tears? Did HYBE finally cross the line? Watch until the end, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you believe the truth deserves to be heard. Did you see it live? That unforgettable night when Jungkook's voice trembled, his eyes glistened, and Taehyung tried desperately to hold back tears beside him? Millions of armies across the world froze, their hearts sinking as both idols, known for their laughter and strength, suddenly broke down in front of the camera. What could have possibly happened behind those glowing studio lights? What kind of pain was heavy enough to make two of BTS's most radiant souls cry on live broadcast? And most of all, what did HYBE do that pushed them to that breaking point? It began as an ordinary late-night live. Jungkook appeared first, sitting on his familiar chair, a faint smile brushing across his face as he greeted armies like he always did. The comments flooded the chat window, hearts, purple emojis, and playful teasing filled the screen. He looked calm, or at least he tried to. But even through the high-definition pixels, fans could sense something wasn't right. His smile looked forced, his gaze restless, as though he was waiting for something or someone. Then, after a few minutes, Taehyung entered the frame. The two locked eyes for a moment that felt longer than time itself. That single glance said everything they couldn't say out loud. Taehyung sat down quietly beside Jungkook. His usual warmth dimmed into a deep, reflective silence. Fans expected laughter, perhaps a playful conversation about their music or daily lives. But instead, what followed left the fandom in collective shock. Jungkook inhaled sharply, as if trying to summon courage, and then he spoke. His words trembled. "It's been difficult," he said, his eyes flickering down. Taehyung's hand subtly reached out, brushing his arm in comfort. But that single gesture only deepened the tension in the air. The comments section exploded with confusion and concern. What's going on? Why do they look so sad? Is something wrong with HYBE? The silence between them was louder than words. Then suddenly, Jungkook's eyes began to fill with tears. He tried to wipe them away, laughing it off, but it was too late. The truth was pouring out. "Sometimes," he whispered, his voice breaking, "we just wish we could be ourselves." The screen seemed to freeze as armies held their breath. Taehyung looked down, pressing his lips together, fighting his own emotions. He finally spoke, his tone low but piercing. "We love what we do. But love can hurt when it's controlled." That was the moment Jungkook broke completely. His shoulders shook, and he turned away, covering his face with his hands. The live ended abruptly. But the internet didn't. Within minutes, clips circulated across every platform. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag Taehyung cried. Hashtag Jungkook lived tears. Hashtag HYBE explained started trending worldwide. Armies, confused and furious, began piecing together clues. Past interviews, old live streams, mysterious posts that suddenly made too much sense. What was happening behind HYBE's polished facade? Was there a deeper story being buried beneath corporate smiles and brand campaigns? In the hours following the broadcast, whispers began to rise. Insiders hinted at growing tension between BTS members and the company. Some claimed HYBE had tightened creative restrictions, dictating not only the group's public image but also their personal interactions. Others spoke of exhaustion, long working hours, suppressed individuality, and emotional burnout that had been quietly eating away at the members for years. Armies who had once celebrated every new project began to notice a pattern. The smiles looked more practiced, the laughs a little emptier. Was this the cost of being under one of the biggest entertainment empires in the world? Jungkook, known for his honesty during live sessions, had always hinted at wanting freedom, to make his own music, to express himself without filters. Taehyung too had spoken about his passion for art and his desire to live authentically, beyond the limits of the idol system. But what if those desires were repeatedly silenced? What if every song, every word, had to pass through a system that prioritized profit over emotion? That night, when their emotions finally overflowed, it felt like years of suppression breaking open at once. HYBE remained silent. No statements, no explanations. Just silence, and silence, as armies knew too well, can be the loudest confession. The fandom's theories spread like wildfire. Some believed the live was unplanned, a spontaneous rebellion. Others suspected the company might have intervened afterward, deleting parts of the recording before it could spread further. Still, clips managed to survive, grainy, emotional, but undeniably real. Days passed and fans began noticing subtle shifts. Taehyung's social media posts became more introspective, his captions cryptic. Jungkook, usually lively and talkative, went quiet. The others, Jimin, Suga, J-Hope, showed public support but seemed careful, almost cautious in their wording. Something inside BTS's perfect world had cracked. And yet, this was not the first time fans had sensed tension between the group and HYBE. Rumors had circulated before, about disagreements over solo promotions, creative decisions, and even personal privacy. Every time, the company brushed it off as misunderstandings. But this time felt different. This time the pain was visible. The tears were real. Fans started digging deeper, tracing past live streams and press statements. Some recalled that Jungkook once mentioned feeling like a machine, while Taehyung during an interview admitted, "I just want to live like Kim Taehyung sometimes, not V." Those quotes, once brushed off as poetic musings, now carried a haunting truth. Was this what they were crying about? The loss of self in exchange for perfection? The emotional impact on ARMY was immeasurable. Thousands posted videos of themselves crying, sharing heartfelt messages online. "They've given us everything. Now it's our turn to protect them." The fandom began trending hashtags calling for transparency, demanding HYBE to address the emotional well-being of their artists. But still no official word came. Only silence, as if the truth was too dangerous to speak. Behind the glamour, perhaps there was a battle, a quiet war between authenticity and image, between the boys who dreamed and the corporation that owned their dreams. If that sounds harsh, remember the way Jungkook's voice cracked that night, or the way Taehyung's eyes glisten with unspoken pain. Those weren't performances. Those were human emotions breaking free from a carefully constructed cage. As the weeks went by, reports suggested that Jungkook and Taehyung had requested a creative break, a rare move in the tightly controlled K-pop system. Whether HYBE approved it or not remained unclear. What was clear, however, was the power of that single live. Changed everything. Fans began questioning not only HYBE's treatment of BTS but the entire industry's obsession with control and perfection. Could this be the beginning of something new? Perhaps those tears weren't just symbols of pain, but of awakening. For years, BTS has carried the weight of the world's expectations. Maybe that night they decided to show the world who they truly are. Flawed, emotional, and real. Even now, the image of Jungkook crying and Taehyung reaching out to comfort him lingers in the minds of millions. It was raw, heartbreaking, but deeply human. And in that vulnerability, they reminded everyone that idols are not untouchable gods. They are artists, dreamers, and people who feel too deeply. So what did HYBE really do? Maybe the answer lies not in one single event, but in everything the company has demanded, everything they've withheld, and everything the members could no longer bear. The truth, like all forbidden truths, hides between lines, in the silence after the tears, in the pauses between words they couldn't say. Maybe one day Jungkook and Taehyung will tell their story in full, when they are free, when they are ready. Until then, all the world can do is remember that live, that silence, and those tears that told a story no press release ever could. So now, the question echoes louder than ever. What will happen next? Will HYBE respond? Will BTS finally break free from the invisible chains that bind them? Or will that night remain a whispered secret in the history of K-pop, forever replayed, forever remembered, and forever unanswered? Tell us what you think, ARMY. Were those tears a message? Do you believe HYBE